Welcome to the Lumpkin Leadership Forum, a podcast dedicated to discussing issues that consider the future of Dahlonega-Lumpkin County. My name is Rob Nichols. I'm the Executive Director of the Dahlonega-Lumpkin County Chamber of Commerce. The goal of this podcast is to understand the decisions and issues in our incredible community. Today, I'm joined by President Mike Shannon, and we're going to hear his perspective on ways to lead our community towards smart, controlled growth while keeping the Dahlonega-Lumpkin County charm. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate this. I've been looking forward to this since you asked me a few months ago. Thanks for having us.
Your speech that you gave to our last Leadership Lumpkin class certainly prompted you being a guest on here. And in that, your speech was on purpose. So what is the stated purpose of UNG?
Yeah, this is a really good question. First and foremost, we have to remind ourselves we have been around a very long time. So North Georgia Agricultural College, 1873. Today, the University of North Georgia, today 5 campuses serving 20,000 students. So we have grown. We're a much different place. UNG exists to help people find their purpose. And I don't believe you always find it while in college, but I believe college equips you on a journey to walk toward your purpose. The contract with the American university is much different. Historically, you went to a university to gain knowledge. It was about the brain. As we know today, knowledge is in a different place. It's much more prolific. You and I had to go to a place called a library and get a book, Rob. Today, our students, all of us, have access to knowledge in microseconds at our fingertips. So today, it's beyond, you still have to grow knowledge, but the university has to do much more today, and that's that point about purpose. It's not about getting a degree. It's not about getting a job. It's about purpose, which leads to capability, which leads to impact. And so we're here to grow that and to build that. And historically, our model has been, one of we prepared people to serve. We were a place of service. I mean, that's the DNA of this place. Of course, the Corps of Cadets, and then things evolved in nursing and building teachers and building law enforcement officers. And today, we're helping our students, discover that purpose that they were created for. We believe everyone is created for purpose. And we believe in the future, it's now expanding much longer and broader than that. The demands on the American university are the highest I think they've ever been. And we're a part of that. That's what I think is important for us to understand. Even though we're in this very small community that's historic in nature and charming and lovely, we are operating in a state and in a country and in a globe that is much different than it was even 5 years ago, let alone 30, 40, 50 years ago. And many people come and say, hey, why is North Georgia so different? And my first response is, well, the world is different. The country is different. The state is different. And so, as we go in the future, we believe we can become a national model of how public universities help people discover purpose, because it's really not about, getting a degree in X, Y, and Z and then showing up with those specific skills. What we're finding is our graduates are moving into the marketplace. They're going into the American economy. Most of what they have learned in school, they're learning basic techniques and blocking and tackling. But a lot of what they are learning is how to be able to think and the next step solve. And so that's really what we're becoming. And we're really proud of that. And that's different. And that makes a lot of people uncomfortable because that's not the historical norm of a university or a college. But that's who we are, and that's where we're going.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you have a dynamic plan for the growth of the university. How does that vision of expansion for UNG fit that purpose?
Yeah, it's interesting because expansion isn't our goal.
Yeah,
it's not. When we came here, we've been here now 3 years. It's very hard to believe. We've been here 3 years. It wasn't about growth for growth's sake. It was about how do we respond to the needs of our state and our nation? And that's really the fundamental question. A public university is committed to, or should be, those goals. How do you serve your region? How do you serve your state? And how do you serve your nation? And what we did as we surveyed that is we realized that expansion of purpose and opportunity is what was needed. And so with that comes the natural physical expansion in terms of all the things people think about. But that's really not what we're focused on. Uh, most people may look at what we're doing and think we're focused on buildings, and that's not the conversations going on in our discussions. Our discussions are framed around how do we best equip our students, soon to be graduates, to go into this world and operate in a place where the playbook is going to run out. And then what do you do?
Yeah.
Whether it's nurses or teachers or scientists or business leaders or humanists or artists or lieutenants, Army lieutenants, all of them are going to face that. And so how do we give them that experience that they need? And a lot of that requires growth. And so that's what we've been working on. I know a lot of people look at what we're doing and come back and say, my goodness, they're just continuing to grow. We need to grow. The other thing folks need to realize is the state is growing. You have to look at the population trends of the state. And our part of the state's very popular.
Yeah.
People want to live in this part of Georgia. And also our major universities in our system, and believe it or not, we're the sixth largest in the university system. 25 institutions, we're the sixth largest. The ones that are larger than are growing as well, but they're getting very, very large. And I encourage people to go and look at the sizes of Georgia Tech and the University of Georgia and Kennesaw State. They have fives. We have a 2 in front of our enrollment. They have 5s. And I believe some of them are going to have 6s. And so from that perspective, we are being asked by our university system and by our legislature to continue to grow to meet the needs of the economy and of the state.
Excellent. So with this vision that you have and the future of UNG, how does that really help the community of Dahlonega and Lumpkin County? Because it is a benefit and some people don't see it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So students discover purpose through experience, not through lectures. By the way, that's very controversial. If you would have said that 25 years ago, Rob, we would have been thrown out of this room. But that is indeed the case, because the shift in knowledge, the shift towards a person that has adaptability, that has the ability to solve problems, the ability to answer the call when the playbook runs out. And I use that metaphor all the time, but it's really true. In most lived experiences, the playbook is gone. You can't just go and say, okay, I'm going to run this play. It's sandlot football. We're in the huddle and I'm like, Rob, you go over here and I'm going to throw it to you. It's that type of a mindset. And so the community is critical. We believe the community is the classroom. In order for our students to have that experience, they have to get their hands dirty. We talk about it all the time. I just talked about it in a monthly update. We get this experiential learning where they touch the work that they are doing. Also, leadership opportunities. Our students being in our community, and I know many of them work in our small businesses. I know many of them intern. I know you've had students here at the chamber. Those are critical. That's where our students, in most of the time, a non-attributive environment, they can't get in trouble. They usually can't break anything, but they can get some very big experiences. So that way, when they are beyond graduation and actually serving in a place of accountability, they have already looked back and said, man, when I worked for Rob Nichols, I really screwed up that day and I'll never forget that. And so that's where the community can really help us. It's also about service. Our students are very willing to serve. And I know many of the local organizations that are service-minded have our students helping. It's also in the area of research. It's also in the area of industry partnerships. You and I have talked a lot as we're talking about potential new things coming to Lumpkin and Dahlonega. Are there ways that our students could get involved in those and provide, what do companies need? They need people, right? They need people generally. That's their biggest thing they need. And so all of that gets us to this concept that it's not just a brand, it's the community is the classroom. That's the best place. Don't get me wrong, our students learn a lot in the classroom, but it's the practical application of that when they go out and they do it and they touch it and they experience it.
You already touched on this a little bit, but I think it'd be good to reiterate, what your vision here for UNG is. It's not just for that, but it's something that can be expanded to college and universities throughout the United States. Can you expand on that a little bit?
We believe we're doing some things differently here.
Yeah.
We believe we are thinking about things differently. Here's the amazing news, Rob. Most of what we have done is not new to North Georgia.
Hmm.
Most people who know us, and there's so many people in this region that have either attended here, have a degree from here, somebody in the family does. Many families, I meet them, and 4, 5, 6 of the family members have gone to school here. People realize what this place has always been about, and again, it started with this idea of service, being very service oriented, being very community oriented. And again, all we have done is taken all of that goodness and tried to put some curation around it and some focus. If you unpack our vision, there's not a lot new. We want to deliver the core of the future. Well, guess what? The core has been here for 153 years. We just want to have the best core. We want to have the preeminent Army Leader Development Program, and we want to be able to be the stage setter for the nation. That's just one example. And you could take that and look at it too. Nursing has been here for 50 years, and you go around this region and North Georgia nurses are incredibly well thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, so you take all of that and you curate it, and that's where we are today. If you look at everything we've been talking about for the last couple of years, it is about how do we amplify, in some cases throw gas on a fire, and in some cases elevate what we are already doing. And then that inherently becomes a national model. You said, how does that affect the nation? That becomes a national model because I think there are a lot of our peers out there, our peer institutions, that are trying to desperately hold on to what they know best, which is this historic model of a university. And it's not there anymore. It's not. Don't get me wrong. The university at the end of the day is still about creating great minds, but we have so much more responsibility. We have a huge and. It was easier before. And the value was not questioned. Today, Rob, the value of what we do, not just here but across the American university enterprise, is questioned all the time. There's more questions than there are answers. And so I believe our and is our secret weapon, not just for us, but for everybody. And we hope that we become a beacon for others. We hope we become an example.
Right.
We're trying.
Well, what makes UNG the perfect college to make this change and to be an example like that? What are the ingredients over there?
Again, this history of service, this legacy. Not, I want to go beyond that. Not just history, but legacy. And legacy is a word we got to sit on for a minute.
Yeah.
There's a legacy at this place. This place, I'm new here. I'm new. My experience here was incredibly limited. This place has been doing amazing things for a very long time, much longer than you and I have been around, Rob.
Right.
Actually, we add our ages together, and this place is longer than that. I mean, 153 years ago, this was the second public institution in Georgia, the second public college to open. And from that, there's a legacy that was born. Much of it is around the core, but there's a legacy with women. We were the first public in Georgia to admit women. In that very first class, we're very proud of Willie Lewis, and we've been celebrating her lately.
Mm-hmm.
And if folks aren't up to speed on that, go and check out what we've been doing, celebrating Willie Lewis. So the role of women, the role of the Corps of Cadets, the role of leadership. When we got here, we recognized the opportunity that we have to become really a hallmark of leadership for the nation. And what does that mean in this environment when we have technology, we're competing with, societal thoughts around what's new, all of these things.
Right.
And at the end of the day, um, North Georgia believes that the university and that education itself is about serving something greater than yourself. That's what it is all about. And from what I've learned, when you serve something greater than yourself, the rewards you get back are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it magnifies because you get this bounce back effect of all of those things. But community engagement. We have a very public facing mission. Our mission is to serve the state of Georgia and to build great citizens for the state of Georgia. Affordability is incredibly important to all students now, and through the generosity of the state, through the legislature, the governor, the chancellor, the board of regents, we still remain one of the most affordable deals in the American marketplace. And then access. The thing about the 5 campuses that's important, and I don't think, in Lumpkin and Dahlonega, you see it as much because most folks think about our Dahlonega campus, but our ability in access is tremendous. I just spent a couple of days on our Blue Ridge campus, and that's a prime example. Before Blue Ridge opened 10 plus years ago, there was no opportunity to go to college in Fannin County.
Yeah.
You had to go somewhere. Today, you can stay in Fannin County, you can live at home, and you can get a bachelor's degree
Wow.
in nursing, in education. You can complete your entire core curriculum and then move to Dahlonega or to Gainesville to finish any number of degrees. So the ability to make college accessible, the opportunity for anyone to be able to go to college is pretty remarkable. And that's what this university believes in. And I think we always will, even as we continue to grow. That's going to be a part of who we are because of the 5 campuses and because of this tremendous mission that we have. We're missionaries. We're out there all over the place, and it's complicated. This is a big, giant organization of a lot of people and a lot of moving parts. We run 5 small cities, but at the end of the day, the amount of people we're touching and the tentacles of that are, it's unlimited. I can't even count how many people we touch.
All right, now we've got some tough rapid fire questions for you.
All right, rapid
pick
fire.
your answer. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So Bear on the Square or Gold Rush?
Gold Rush.
Halloween scarecrows or Christmas lights?
Christmas lights.
Lighting in the square or 4th of July on the drill field?
That one is that's the hardest one yet. 4th of July on the drill field.
Yeah. What's more fun, pickleball at Pine Tree Rec Center or hiking the reservoir?
Hiking the reservoir.
Favorite waterfall, Cane Creek Falls or Amicalola Falls?
Amicalola Falls.
Favorite hike, Blood Mountain or Preacher's Rock?
I don't like either, but I'll take Preacher's Rock. No,
Would you rather be tubing or kayaking down the Chastity?
I would rather be kayaking.
There you go. All right, you need a snack on the square, fudge or an ice cream cone?
Oh, I'm going to get in trouble here because of all my friends. Ice cream cone.
And our producer, Davis McIntyre, added this one. I'm not responsible for it. The better looking Ranger, Joey Blackshear or Rob Nichols?
This one's super tough because Joey works for me and you're my good friend. I'll have to say Rob Nichols.
Oh, there we go. That's the correct answer.
Yes. See, I know how to cite.
So, and final question, what does Dahlonega, Lumpkin County mean to you?
We have been privileged to come here. I never had in my trajectory 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago when I was still in uniform, the idea that I would get to be a university president. That was never in my, and that is sincere. Those who know me know that that's true. And I believe things don't happen by accident. I believe that you're on a trajectory towards purpose. And to be able to come here and do this, and I left an incredibly remarkable place. I was at one of the finest institutions in America, and still is, and by every stretch. But to be able, of all places, to come to North Georgia and do this, and a lot of people think I came here just because of the Corps. And don't get me wrong, I love America's Corps.
Yeah.
I love what we're doing here with the cadets and with the Corps. But when I looked at this, a lot of this was about Dahlonega. And we came here and we walked. Most people don't know this story, Rob. In when this was brewing, it was December of 2022, and I was being asked to consider this by some folks. My wife and I just came up here and walked one day, and it was December.
Christmas
You
lights.
guys killed me with this, but it was December of 2022. The students had all gone. It was after graduation. The whole place was very quiet. The drill field was quiet. It was just a quiet evening.
Yeah.
And we walked around that drill field, and we walked all around that campus, and then we came over to this square,
Yeah.
and we walked around this square, and we could just tell that, hey, this was a place that we felt like we could be a part of, and that has been a night I'll never forget. I still have the pictures in my phone. My wife and I, it was just my wife and I, and Jessica and I had a great night, and we left here saying, I think this is something we want to go for, and fortunately, it all worked out
Yeah.
well. Um, but I want to say this before we close. We love being here. We love being a part of this community. We know it's a very traditional, tight community of people who really care about this place. And I want people to know we care about this place. And the 3,000 members of our team across all of our campuses love the University of North Georgia. And everyone has different ambitions and motivations. And you'll find folks on some of our campuses who have more motivation towards another campus. And that's part of who we are. But at the end of the day, people here love this place. And we believe the future of North Georgia is not about becoming a bigger university. That's not what this is about. We believe we're answering a clarion call. This is the, we hear the trumpets, we're soldiers. We hear the trumpets, we hear the sound of the guns, and we believe we're responding to that.
Right.
It's about becoming a more important university. It's about becoming a university more important to our students, more important to communities, and more important to the future of Georgia and America.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to do. And we don't want to hurt anything. We want to keep what's special about this place special, but continue to move forward. Rob, the future of Georgia and America walks in and out of our buildings every day. It's to be honest with you, with all due respect, I love you, but it's not you and I. We are not the future. It is these young people who are going to have to deal with things in the next 20, 30, 40 years that you and I wouldn't even have imagined, just like we had to deal with things that our parents and grandparents never would have imagined. And so that is what excites me. That's what gets me out of bed every day. I go to bed every night saying, have I done everything I can to serve these 20,000 students and be great neighbors and parts of our community, and especially this one that we live in and also work in and serve in. And so we've been privileged, and we thank you for the opportunity to do this together. And we want to continue the conversation. We want to make sure that we're good citizens, just as everyone would expect us to.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Go Nighthawks.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Lumpkin Leadership Forum. Stay tuned for more episodes with local leaders so that you can learn more about the smart strategies we are using to develop our community. Please like and subscribe so you can be notified of new episodes.